Auditor Troll gets sued by Denver Metro Audits. We have a primer. Does DMA have the right to sue? Did DMA really need to register his work to sue? How could he sue when registered as copyright years after losing his complaint to YouTube? We have the answers. Jeremiah Payne's outrage tour may have hit a snag. Gets kicked off local transit he was using as a tour bus. Blames everyone else. The angry vet gets kicked out of a courthouse lobby for filming. Has ugly incident with Baltimore police. Warns that he'll have badge numbers. Plus, Chili DeCastro gets knocked off the air while laughing and giggling over police shooting videos. Doesn't know why he couldn't start a new stream. Will he ever sell another copy of his board game? Board game? He's got a board game? What? I'm your humble newsreader, Pants. You are looking at me like a special invitation to receive Iron Bowl tickets. Am I a buff police officer waiting to awkwardly take you down for all that back child support you owe? Or are you really going to receive a one-way ticket to Auditing Insanity? On June 3rd, 2025, Christopher Denver Metro Audits Cordova filed a lawsuit against the YouTuber known as Auditor Troll, who he believes is named Jonathan Huneau in Northern District Court in California. Cordova is represented by attorney Randall S. Newman, who lists a New York address in the lawsuit but is licensed in both New York and California. Newman has since started a YouTube presence and has appeared on a couple of Cordova's live streams defending the lawsuit. The lawsuit is filed in the Northern District of California, as that's where YouTube's user agreement says all lawsuits involving the service must be filed. We know that Jose Chili DeCastro once filed suit against Kate Peter, Josh Abrams, YouTube, YouTube workers, YouTube creators, and everything else under the sun in Massachusetts. He shouldn't have, due to the same agreement he signed with YouTube by using their service. YouTube fought him over it, and eventually that case was dismissed because he's DeCastro and never got around to actually stating what YouTube did wrong to be sued. Attorney Newman also has the same listed address as Auditor Troll on the lawsuit, but specified a specific suite number. They used the same service in New York to provide a business address. Auditor Troll, for whatever reason, chose not to list his suite number in the counterclaim he filed when he was notified of the YouTube copyright claim by Cordova. Still with us? The original video, Another Chad Exposed, Worthless Denver Cops Assaulted, went up on Cordova's channel back on March 16th, 2022. According to the complaint, it's done around 66,000 views since creation. Auditor Troll did a reaction video on December 2nd, 2022, entitled Auditor DMA Gets Confronted by Angry Citizen. Hilarious. According to the complaint, that video did 75,000 views or so in its lifetime. It's currently unavailable. Cordova put in a Digital Millennium Copyright Act complaint against the video on YouTube in early June of 2023. Troll counterclaimed on June 6th. As part of his counterclaim, Troll provided the New York address, said his name was Jonathan Huneau, and agreed to be served under that name at that address should Cordova sue him. Because Cordova didn't sue Troll in YouTube's set time limit for the dispute, Troll's video was restored, and Troll claimed it was a victory. Cordova quietly regrouped. A video posted to YouTube is subject to YouTube's rules and regulations. However, when YouTube makes a ruling, such as siding with someone because a lawsuit wasn't filed in a predetermined time limit, it does not strip the work of legal protection, or the copyright holder gives up the right to take future action to protect their work. Cordova, like any creator, holds the copyright to their work when the work is created. But he must register it to take legal action on copyright grounds. In order to protect the copyright in the United States, Cordova needed to pay to register the copyright with the United States Copyright Office. It's roughly $65 to protect a specific work, and takes a while to get through the system. Cordova started the registration process on February 6th, 2024, and eventually the process completed, giving Cordova the opportunity to move forward in the court system to protect his copyright. He did so by filing the lawsuit against Troll on June 3rd, 2025. And that's when things got weird. Christopher Cordova is a controversial figure. His personality is off-putting. His views on defending the public display of pornography, his views on women, his dancing skills, his brashness, and his sheer upsetting quality that makes some people want to smack him just by looking at him mean nothing. He still holds the registered copyright on his work and has the legal ability to defend his work. Frauditor Troll portrays himself as a family man. In that portrayal, he's always standing up for himself as a hero of the people against those who want to take down his business and expose the real identities of himself and his family. While, like Cordova, a lot of people are turned off by his personality, he has a huge fan base and people who will more than likely donate tons of money in his defense. And none of it matters. The question before the court is whether or not Troll violated Cordova's copyright when he used Cordova's video. The lawsuit is a claim against Troll, and since it's a defense of Cordova's work, there's a lot of harsh and inflammatory words towards the so-called anti-auditor community, and has got everyone on that side of things rattled. That's what it's supposed to do. If Frauditor Troll is successfully served, his reply will provide a defense against the no-good, mean, and dirty copyright holder, and explain why what he did was perfectly legal. It'll upset people in the auditing community. That's what it's supposed to do. There's a lot of fear in the supposed anti-auditing community right now because the lawsuit is seeking to define the limits of something called the fair use doctrine. According to Google's AI overview, the fair use doctrine is not law, it's a limitation to copyright that gives creators the right to the ability to use limited portions of another person's work. The fear is present right now because the fair use doctrine is being challenged. And again, while the fear is overblown, at some level it is justified. The lawsuit might serve as a template for other creators to register their work and take similar action against those who produce reaction videos. However, the fair use doctrine has always been applied on a case-by-case basis. The lawsuit is not going to change this, despite the bluster contained within the initial complaint. The complaint is seeking action on one video against one creator. While it may scare people and it may eventually force changes to YouTube policy, the time and expense involved in the current system will prevent mass overkill of lawsuits and the end of reaction videos. That said, there are already limits on making reaction videos using footage from big Hollywood production studios who produce movies, video games, television shows, and other media. However, there's still a thriving reaction community on YouTube despite the limitations presented by the corporations who vigorously defend their works. Reaction videos will still exist, but those who create them must be smarter about the use of the original content. There are limits, and finding those limits and a way to fill the magic 8 minutes of content to hit mid-roll advertising will be a challenge to those who want to make a living making reaction videos. We leave you with another case that isn't getting as much attention. Recently, Team Skeptic, a widely popular figure in the community that reacts to auditors, sovereign citizens, so-called Karens, and the like, has had to take action against other creators on YouTube. His videos have been basically copied by AI channels and used as original works by those channels. Skeptic has been hailed as a hero in his community for taking action against the copying of his work, and for actively working to protect his work even if it means having entire YouTube channels taken down. The difference between Skeptic and Cordova? One has a more punchable face than the other? No. In the eyes of YouTube, there shouldn't be. Cordova may be seen as insufferable. His close relationship with his mother may be strange to some. His views on public display of pornography and weird choice in facial hair may leave some scratching their heads. He might not be the brightest or most handsome guy. His criminal record, his lifestyle choices, and weird dance videos may be in question. But again, none of it matters. He has the right to protect his work. In the end, the court will have to decide whether or not Troll took too much of his work. The lawyers will have the final say, and creators will go on creating with new guidelines in place to make sure everyone plays nice. The increased exposure for Cordova's causes did nothing to help his ongoing crowdsourcing campaign, which remains at $905 out of a $20,000 goal for the third straight month. As a whole, the market reflected Cordova's efforts for Monday as no winner was crowned, and no donations were made to any of the campaigns we cover. We will continue to provide updates on DMA versus Troll as we receive them. The man classified by our readers as the human outrage machine, Jeremiah Payne, returned to YouTube for a second straight weekend in a row on Sunday, with a live stream of his family being kicked off of public transportation. The incident happened on Sunday, apparently on a bus belonging to Nashville's WeGo public transit. According to Jeremiah Payne, he and his family got on the bus when the problems began. He wrote in the description of the video, "It's pretty much like this. We have rolled the bus for years and years, and never had an issue, and all the bus drivers. Matthew Stanza, instead of setting it down on them, hard plastic seats. This woman was just straight out a freaking racist. Did not like us from the moment. We walked on the bus as soon as we paid. Got back here and got seated or standing. She parked the bus and says she wasn't moving until Samantha sat down and got off her effing bus. It's not her effing bus. The tax dollars pay for it. It's the city's, which is therefore the people's. The live stream started with the bus already parked and Jeremiah Payne arguing with a bus driver. He informed the bus driver that other drivers allowed his wife Samantha to stand up while riding the bus due to problems with her back. As the driver and Payne's wife Samantha interacted, Payne began to swear at the driver, who chastised Payne for swearing on the bus and threatened to call the police. This is where Payne's story picks up again. He wrote, "She kicked us off the bus and was calling Metro Police because my wife has to stand up. She cannot sit down on an hard plastic seats. And this is the only bus driver to ever say anything. Every bus we ride, she stands up. She was just a racist piece of shit. I want everyone to call transit and complain about her." Later posting a reply to our forum post where he claimed, "Well, there is no rule that says you can't stand up. Many people was standing behind us. This woman was just being a racist. He was the only white people on the bus. She and kicked us off, and she made us pay $12, then kicked us off." Eventually, Payne began to direct profanity at the driver, and the driver apparently called the police. Samantha Payne interjected and said she was getting off the bus. Jeremiah demanded transfer tickets or a refund, both of which were denied by the driver. Then Jeremiah meekly exited the bus with his wife and daughter. Jeremiah promised that the driver would go viral and lose her job based on the interaction. Then he directed all of his followers to call and complain about the driver. The video has been viewed 179 times since he posted it, with about 5 of those due to our own refreshing of his comments area. When asked why he wouldn't follow the rules by a commenter on his YouTube page, Jeremiah replied, "Well, there is no rule that says you can't stand up. Many people was standing behind us. This woman was just being a racist. It was only the white people on the bus. And she kicked us off, and she made us pay $12, then kicked us off." Jeremiah is partially correct, as the 9 points in the Regional Transportation Authority of Middle Tennessee Code of Conduct does not address the standing issue. However, the Passenger General Responsibilities section reads, "Upon boarding an RTA vehicle, please be seated as soon as possible. And always use handrails when walking to and from your seat." Rule 6 makes it clear that the driver is in charge of the vehicle. Individuals shall not interfere in any way with the RTA train or bus operations. Individuals must cooperate with any RTA official or security officer. Rule 8 then addresses Jeremiah's use of profanity. Disorderly conduct will not be tolerated. This may include, but is not limited to, the following: using profane or offensive language, loud music, chanting or singing, racial slurs, or displaying racist or gang-related behaviors, pushing others, or breaking the line to gain access to any RTA vehicle, or treating passengers or the vehicle operator without courtesy. The driver operated within the guidelines in refusing to offer transfers or refunds to the Paynes, as official policy says that a rider forfeits their fare if they're removed from the vehicle for a policy violation. As the Paynes no longer have a means of personal transportation, a possible ban by the RTA may leave them stranded in Nashville for the foreseeable future. This is an ongoing news story. Jose Chili DeCastro's Tuesday afternoon live stream was cut short by apparent technical difficulties, as it ended abruptly while DeCastro was laughing and enjoying a video of an accidental police shooting. DeCastro was openly celebrating a video of a female police officer shooting her partner when the stream went down. In response to the stream ending, DeCastro posted in the stream's side chat, "Oh wow, it just ended the live, oh lord." When asked if he was starting another stream, DeCastro responded with, I'm trying. The chat then ended, and DeCastro did not return to streaming on Tuesday. The diminutive YouTuber's stream featured multiple incidents of police officers shooting suspects Tuesday afternoon, culminating in the video of the female officer shooting her partner. DeCastro laughed and mocked police during the videos, openly correcting their fighting stances and takedown methods. He even took time to stop and mock longtime nemesis Officer Anthony Nardini of the Tempe, Arizona Police Force. Nardini was involved in an incident a few years back where DeCastro called himself an alpha to Nardini's face, while making it clear that Nardini is a beta. The encounter between the men has lingered for years, as DeCastro refers back to it and shares a strange memory of dominance each time Nardini's name is mentioned. In the new video, apparently shot during the anti-ICE interactions last week, showed Nardini restraining a prone woman with his knee while surrounded by protesters. When Nardini went to deploy his mace, another officer walked in front of him with a bicycle and was caught in the spraying. DeCastro lingered on the incident, critiquing Nardini's various fighting poses and laughing and giggling at his old nemesis's plight. It is unclear if anyone was injured in the video, other than the immediate impact of having pepper spray deployed at close range. The YouTuber also expressed criticism of the press during the live stream as part of his usual list of targets. He became enraged when watching coverage of an apparent sting operation featuring arrests of those who were duped into thinking they won tickets to the Iron Bowl, a football event. DeCastro expressed his frustration that an apparent unidentified member of the press was allowed to film arrests at the 2011 event run by the Lee County Sheriff's Department in Alabama. As part of the program, the Sheriff's Department made up a fake organization called the Charter Club of Lee County and sent out letters to people who owed at least $30,000 in back child support. 12 arrests were made during the event, with those arrested owing a combined total of $270,000 in back child support. It's unclear why DeCastro's live stream ended so early or why he was having problems starting a new stream. That was not the end of DeCastro's problems, however, as a quick check of his DeleteLaws.com site saw that he had yet to make a second sale of his Constitutional Headquarters board game product after raising the price some weeks back. While the board game project once dominated DeCastro's YouTube presence, It has since been relegated to minor status during what he's described as a rebuilding process of his brand and website. When he provided his last update for the game, DeCastro was having problems finding financing to print the first run of the game. He claimed that his local print shop needed $150,000 for a 10,000 copy production run, and he was considering launching a Kickstarter campaign in order to fund the project. DeCastro also continued to put up goose eggs for his current GoFundMe campaign to help DeCastro raise money for his Westlaw AI as part of his lawsuit against a former justice of the peace in Las Vegas. This may be part of a bigger drought for the market, as the market itself has seen no donations for any of the campaigns that we follow over the past 2 days. We will provide updates on all things DeCastro, as he's expected to attempt to go live again on Wednesday. Kevin the Angry Vet Soper started the day in his truck with the YouTuber known as Baltimore County Observer at his side, both men eating McDonald's breakfast meals and jokingly declaring that they'd host weekly mukbang videos on Soper's channel. Soper took the time to get introspective about life and the YouTube community. He said that his constant struggle with mental illness had been a focus of his channel, but also had been a stigma of sorts, since oversharing was often used against those within the auditing community. The angry veteran said that he had been trained during his military experience to see the signs of distress in others, and he had missed those signs when presented by someone he knew online in the past who ultimately took their own life. He also lashed out during the broadcast at 2 specific YouTubers who have a history of taking an individual's previous personal trauma to trigger that person into a new mental health episode. Soper dramatically pledged that he would personally stop those who would take such actions, as mental health was precious, and those individuals kept fucking around and will find out. Eventually turning his thoughts to his and BCO's plans for the day, Soper said that the pair may visit the workplace of a Baltimore County police officer they had negative encounters with in the past before ending the live stream. Hours later, Soper and BCO went live again, this time as they were in an altercation with police in front of a building in downtown Baltimore. In the story that emerged from the pair, police were called because Soper had been accused of entering a restricted area of the courthouse building to film. It's unclear if Soper meant the interior of the courthouse building or exterior, as he provided no clear details. It would eventually emerge that Soper had approached the security station in front of the parking area of the building and asked questions of the workers there before the police were summoned. The police on scene told Soper and BCO that they were not yet free to go, since they were actively investigating disorderly conduct and trespassing charges related to whatever had happened earlier within the building. Soper provided an outraged position with the police until a police lieutenant arrived on the scene. The lieutenant said that Soper and BCO were free to go, as no officers could confirm that Soper had entered a restricted area. After the lieutenant left, Soper asked another officer if he and BCO had been trespassed from the building. That officer said that they had not been trespassed, which set off Soper again. Soper began yelling that he'd have all the police officers' jobs. BCO then informed Soper that BCO's live stream had not started yet, and Soper instructed his partner to start the live stream. He noted that BCO's channel had yet to be monetized, and the incident would help him achieve that goal. Switching to BCO's live stream from Soper's stream, Soper again met with the police lieutenant and demanded disciplinary action against all the officers involved in the previous investigation. Soper singled out Sergeant Sanchez and told BCO's viewers to find the telephone number for the building and call and complain about the specific officer. He gloated that this was his third lawsuit over the past week and reminded himself to get footage from the incident in the lobby, as a police officer had put hands on BCO. BCO's stream ended shortly after that, with the pair returning to Soper's vehicle without incident. We need your help. Both ReallyCoolSite.org's daily newspaper and our daily newscasts are funded by your continuing donations and what we make from our YouTube AdSense revenue each month. If you'd like to contribute to help us keep the lights on, eating, feeding the cats, defending ourselves from lawsuit threats, and writing news stories to feature on both the newspaper and newscast each day, you can do so via a donation to our PayPal, Cash App, or GoFundMe accounts. If you can't afford to contribute, please watch our videos from beginning to end, like, share, subscribe, and comment. You can help by doing next to nothing, and we thank you in advance for pitching in.